Gentlemen, let's be honest. Women don't fully value your presence until they're forced to deal with your absence. You may believe she enjoys having you around, but the real test of her feelings isn't when you're standing right in front of her. It's when you're not there. That's exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome back to Man of Substance, the channel dedicated to helping men navigate relationships with confidence, clarity, and control. Today, we're peeling back the layers to uncover what truly happens when you step away from a woman's life. And trust me, it's not as simple as her just missing you. Her emotions shift, her mindset changes, and based on the kind of man you are, she will either start longing for you more or begin mentally replacing you. In modern dating, men are conditioned to believe that constant attention is required to hold a woman's interest. That's a complete myth. The truth is, the space you create when you step back, whether intentionally or not, determines whether she respects you or sees you as just another disposable option. Here's the reality. When you're absent, a woman goes through a deep emotional and psychological process that reveals everything about her true level of interest. Some women will experience a strong sense of longing, others will feel uncertainty, and some won't feel much at all, which in itself is an answer. But most men fail to realize this because they're too busy chasing, over-explaining, or trying to fix something that isn't even broken. So today, we're going to break it all down. I'll walk you through the 7 key emotions a woman experiences when you're not around, how to identify them, how to use them to your advantage, and most importantly, how to stay in control of your relationships. But before we dive in, I've created an exclusive community on Pod where I break down everything you need to know, step by step. You'll get practical, no-nonsense advice that will boost your confidence and help you build stronger, more meaningful connections. And the best part? The first 20 people who join will receive a special discount. So don't wait. Click the link in the description to secure your spot. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Now let's get into it. Section 1. She starts questioning your value. When you step away, a woman is forced to confront a simple yet uncomfortable question. Was he actually worth my time? Women don't miss a man just because he's gone. They miss a man whose presence added real value to their lives. If you were constantly texting her, always validating her, and making yourself overly available, your absence won't leave any significant impact. But if you were a man who brought leadership, excitement, and a sense of security into her life, she will start feeling that void the moment you're no longer around. At first, she may not even realize it. She'll continue living her life, enjoying the attention from other men, and staying busy. But over time, something changes. She begins reflecting on why she liked you in the first place. Was it his confidence? His ambition? The way he made me feel? These thoughts slowly creep in, and suddenly, she's evaluating your worth in a way she never did before. This is where things get interesting. If you were a man who stood firm on his values, maintained high standards, and made her earn your attention, she'll start feeling your absence like a void. She'll begin to recognize that other men don't measure up. That excitement, that strong presence, that masculine energy, it's now missing. And once a woman feels that emptiness, she starts craving it. On the other hand, if you were too available, overly eager, or too focused on pleasing her, she won't feel much at all. In fact, she may even feel relieved, confirming that you weren't as valuable as she once thought. Let's take a common scenario. A man dates a woman for several months, consistently putting in effort and making time for her. She enjoys it, but doesn't fully appreciate it. Then one day, he starts pulling back, less texting, less availability, and more focus on his own life. At first, she doesn't care, but then a week passes. Then 2. She sees him out, handling his business, looking completely unbothered. Suddenly, she's the one questioning her place in his life. That's when his value skyrockets. This is why absence is so powerful. It forces a woman to see you for who you really are. You either become a man she genuinely values, or you become someone she easily forgets. A high-value man understands this. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't chase. He lets his presence be a privilege, not an expectation. And when a woman starts questioning your value, that's when she realizes she may have lost something she can't easily replace. That's the difference between a man she forgets and a man she respects. Section 2. Her ego takes a hit. A woman might act like she doesn't care when you step back, but don't be fooled. Her ego definitely notices. Women are used to being pursued. They're accustomed to men consistently trying to impress them, win them over, or at the very least, checking to see how they're doing. So when you suddenly go silent, when you stop feeding that cycle of attention, she feels it. Not necessarily in her heart at first, but in her ego. Initially, she may brush it off. Oh, he must be busy. He'll text me soon. But then, as hours turn into days, and days turn into a week, confusion sets in. Why isn't he reaching out? See, in today's dating world, most men operate out of fear. Fear of losing her, fear of being forgotten, fear of her finding someone else. That's why they keep checking in, liking her posts, or sending those weak "Hey, how's your day?" messages just to stay relevant. But a man who understands his worth doesn't play that game. He knows his attention is a reward, not a given. And when he removes it, a woman feels that absence because suddenly, she's no longer in control. Now here's the key. When a woman's ego takes a hit, she won't always show it directly. Instead of reaching out right away, she'll start testing the waters in subtle ways. She might start posting more on social media, dressing up a little extra, or suddenly engaging with guys she previously ignored. But don't be fooled. This isn't about them. It's about you. She wants to see if you'll notice, if you'll react, if she still has that hold over you. Take this common scenario. A man and a woman have been talking consistently. She enjoys the attention, but she isn't fully investing in him. One day, he stops texting first. At first, she shrugs it off. But after a few days, she starts subtly testing him, viewing his stories, liking an old post, or even bringing up his name in a group chat, just to see if he responds. At this stage, she doesn't necessarily miss him yet. What she misses is the validation. And when he doesn't bite, that's when her frustration starts creeping in. A man who can resist the urge to chase is a man who forces a woman to confront her own insecurities. And once she starts wondering why you're not acting like every other guy, she's already playing your game, not hers. Section 3. She feels a power shift. Women are used to holding the upper hand in dating. They expect men to be the ones initiating conversations, double texting when ignored, and constantly trying to impress them. That's the dynamic most guys accept, without even realizing it. But when you suddenly step back, that balance of power shifts. At first, she won't think much of it. She assumes you'll eventually text, that you're just playing hard to get, that it's only a matter of time before you reach out. But as time passes and nothing happens, something inside her changes. She starts feeling an emotion she's not used to, uncertainty. And let's be real, women hate uncertainty when they thought they had control. Most women walk into relationships knowing they have options. They assume they can replace you effortlessly. But when you remove yourself, without explanation, without chasing, without even checking in, you force her to confront an uncomfortable reality. Maybe I wasn't as important to him as I thought. That realization doesn't sit well with her. It makes her question the entire situation. Was she really the one being pursued? Or was she actually the one chasing you? This is where things get interesting. The more she feels that loss of control, the more her mind starts obsessing over it. Why? Because women aren't used to being the ones left wondering. They're used to being pursued, to having plenty of options, to dictating the pace of a relationship. But when a man flips that script, when he chooses not to engage, he disrupts the entire dynamic. Suddenly, she's the one checking her phone. She's the one feeling frustrated. She's the one asking herself, why isn't he acting like every other guy? And the more she thinks about it, the more invested she becomes. This is why self-control is so powerful. A man who refuses to act desperate, who doesn't need to validate himself through her attention, is a man who commands respect. Because when you position yourself as someone who chooses where his attention goes, rather than begging for hers, she has no choice but to see you differently. Attraction isn't just about being present. It's about knowing when to step back and let her feel the shift in power. And once she does, she'll either start chasing you on your terms, or she'll reveal that she never truly valued you to begin with. Either way, you win. Section 4. Her attraction intensifies. When you step back, a woman doesn't just forget about you. Her attraction grows. Not because she's suddenly in love, but because distance plays tricks on the mind. People crave what they can't have easy access to, and that's exactly what happens when you stop being constantly available. See, women aren't drawn to men who overwhelm them with attention. They don't crave a guy who's always there, always responding, always validating them. What they do respond to is emotional engagement, the ups and downs, the mystery, the uncertainty. One of the most powerful forces that fuel attraction is tension. It's that feeling of not being completely in control, of not knowing exactly where she stands with you. That's what keeps things exciting. When you were always there, replying instantly, liking all her pictures, and constantly checking in, there was no mystery. She knew she had your attention, so there was no need to chase it. But when you pull back, when she suddenly realizes she isn't the center of your world, something shifts inside her. At first, she won't even notice. She'll go about her day assuming you'll eventually reach out. But then time passes. She picks up her phone, expecting a message that isn't there. She sees you online, but there's no text from you. Suddenly, she finds herself thinking about you more than she expected. And here's the key. It's not even about you at this point. It's about her reaction to the space you created. Human nature is simple. When something is too available, we take it for granted. But when something becomes scarce, we suddenly value it more. That's exactly what happens when you stop making yourself too easy to reach. She may not act on it right away. In fact, she may try to convince herself that she doesn't care. But internally, the shift has already happened. The man she assumed would always be there is no longer giving her that sense of security. And that insecurity, that little fear of losing you, is more powerful than anything else when it comes to attraction. This is why men who understand attraction never overextend themselves. They know that a woman's feelings aren't driven by predictability. They're fueled by emotional highs and lows. A woman doesn't stay attracted to a man because he's nice or because he's always there for her. She stays attracted because he makes her feel something real, something that lingers even when he's not around. And the moment she starts feeling that pull, she's already more invested than she ever planned to be. Section 5. She starts chasing you. Once she realizes you're not as available as she thought, something interesting happens. Her mindset shifts. She starts chasing you. At first, it's subtle. Maybe she sends a random message, something like, "Hey, how have you been?" It seems casual, but in reality, she's testing the waters. She wants to see if you'll respond the way you used to, if you're still giving her the same energy. If you keep your cool and don't rush to give her all your attention back, she'll feel the difference. And that's when she starts investing more. Suddenly, she's the one checking your social media. She's the one wondering what you're up to. She might even bring up old memories or subtly hint at missing you. Why? Because in her mind, something shifted. The man who used to be eager for her attention isn't anymore. And that creates intrigue. Women are naturally drawn to what they can't fully control. If she knows she has you wrapped around her finger, she won't feel the need to fight for your attention. But the moment she feels like she might be losing you, her instincts kick in. This is why pulling back isn't about manipulation. It's about restoring balance. When you were always available, she never had to think about you. But now that she has to work for your attention, you're on her mind more than ever. And the irony? The more she chases, the more attractive you become. Not because you're playing games, but because you're showing that your value doesn't depend on her validation. That kind of confidence is magnetic. By this point, she's fully engaged. She's wondering why she suddenly cares so much. She starts making excuses to talk to you, to see you, to reignite the connection. And the best part? You're no longer in a position where you have to prove yourself. Instead, she's the one trying to win you over. At the end of the day, your absence is the most revealing test of all. It cuts through the noise and exposes the truth. Who truly values you and who only saw you as an option. A woman's reaction when you step back speaks louder than any words she's ever said. If she respects you, she'll feel your absence and take action to reconnect. If she doesn't, she'll move on without a second thought, and that's your answer right there. The reality is, men who understand their worth don't fear losing anyone. They don't chase, they don't beg, and they don't compromise their self-respect just to keep someone around. They know that true attraction, real respect, and lasting connection can only come from a place of mutual effort. You should never have to convince someone to value you, because the right woman will recognize your presence without you having to prove it. So here's what I want you to remember. Your presence should be a privilege, not an expectation. When you step back, let her response determine your next move. If she respects you, she'll come back with effort. If she doesn't, she was never truly yours to begin with. Either way, you walk away stronger, more in control, and more focused on what actually matters: your own growth, success, and self-respect. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever stepped back from a woman and seen her true colors? Did she come back with respect, or did she reveal that she never valued you in the first place? Drop a comment below. I'll be reading through and responding. And if you got value from this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a man who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one.